We're lucky in our work to be involved in all sorts of different projects, different sizes, different sectors. But when a scheme like this comes along, you feel slightly daunted at the beginning because it's such a large area. Potentially things could go horribly wrong. You know there's an awful lot of hard work involved. There's a lot of people looking at it, so there's pressure. But at the same time, it's tremendously exciting because the challenge of taking a landscape that from an ecological perspective only had limited importance and turning it into something where there are going to be areas of this site which are going to be teeming with wildlife, but also putting people into that as they grow up and they live and form a community around that. At this stage in the project, it's still fairly early in the construction. There's been completion of the road at the top end, which is already making a difference up here. We've got 6 ponds that are being used to support a small population of great crested newts, areas of sort of wildflower grassland that are being used by wildlife and people. We've got a really nice sweeping sort of avenue of trees and wildflowers through here, starting to sort of establish and mature. So those 2 gateways were the sort of early successes on the project, and they're starting to come into their own now. But I think probably some of the biggest challenges have been around the fact that when you're working in a rural landscape like this and you've got trees, hedgerows, and you've got farm buildings, it's inevitable you're going to encounter bats, which use both buildings and trees. So we've therefore had to secure a number of bat licenses from Natural England that have then imposed a strict sort of regime on the construction timetable for certain phases. We have to provide certain types of compensation and improvements. Things have to be supervised. The weather can affect it. So it's for the construction team and the commercial team, it's another pressure. However, the team works really well together to overcome those challenges. And so one of our biggest successes now is we've reached the end of all of the removal of any known bat roosts from Horton Heath through the licensing process and provided all of the sort of compensatory habitats for the time being within the project. So that includes a network of new bat boxes throughout the whole site. It includes protecting and enhancing these existing corridors, planting out and starting to develop new corridors, thinking about light management, for example, along the road, so we're not deterring the bats from using the retained areas of landscape. But importantly, it's creating real hubs for the bats to use. So we've got the Pond Cottage Bat Hotel down here, and then nearby up here we've got the Fir Tree Bat House as well. 2 very different buildings, brick versus timber, but offering that whole range of features. Our other main sort of legally protected species we're dealing with in terms of having to get a license and having a very prescribed method of working is great crested newt, and we're coming close now to the end of affecting it and having to mitigate up in the north when the road is completed here and some secondary drainage through this area. We'll be coming to the end of that, and the habitats that are left and enhanced will be reconnected back to those populations.